Today we are examining a claim that has been circulating within the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong community, involving alleged exchange rates supposedly appearing inside internal banking systems at levels that are not visible to the general public. The claim, attributed in the supplied material to guest guru Judy Byington, also suggests that public foreign exchange platforms are operating on a different track, while so-called Tier 4B is allegedly moving money independently. These statements have attracted significant attention, particularly among people following potential changes in the value of the Iraqi dinar. But when we analyze claims like these, from a financial news perspective, it is important to separate what is being reported or alleged from what can actually be verified. The central idea behind the claim is that banks may already have access to exchange rates for the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong that ordinary consumers cannot see. In theory, there are legitimate reasons why internal banking systems can contain information that is not immediately visible on public websites. Banks operate sophisticated treasury, settlement, compliance, correspondent banking, and foreign exchange systems. Different rates can exist for different purposes, including accounting, settlement, internal valuation, and customer transactions. A bank's internal system can also contain preliminary or restricted information that never becomes a public exchange rate. However, that distinction is extremely important. The existence of an internal number inside a banking system would not automatically mean that a country's official currency has been revalued. It would also not establish that customers can exchange currency at that rate, that the central bank has approved the rate, or that a new international market price has been established. For the Iraqi dinar, the most important reference point remains the official monetary framework and the policies communicated by Iraq's monetary authorities. The Central Bank of Iraq plays a central role in exchange rate management, banking regulation, foreign exchange operations, and monetary policy. A genuine change in the official value or exchange rate regime would normally have observable consequences. Financial institutions, importers, exporters, currency dealers, accounting systems, and international market participants would eventually have to recognize the change. That is why the statement that public forex platforms are simply behind an alleged private banking rate should be treated cautiously. Public market data can sometimes lag a particular transaction, internal valuation, or proprietary banking feed. But a major, sustainable change in the international value of a currency is not normally something that can remain completely invisible across the global financial system indefinitely. There is another important issue here, the terminology surrounding Tier 4B. This phrase has circulated extensively in online currency communities, but it should not be confused with an established category of the global foreign exchange market. There is no broadly recognized public financial market mechanism through which a special Tier 4B group independently determines official exchange rates for sovereign currencies. Therefore, statements that Tier 4B is already moving money should not be presented as confirmation of an Iraqi dinar revaluation, unless there is independent, verifiable evidence from recognized financial institutions or official authorities. This does not mean that nothing is happening inside Iraq's financial system. Iraq has been working through a number of banking and financial sector reforms, and those developments matter greatly for the long-term position of the dinar. Improvements in banking compliance, international banking relationships, electronic payments, anti-money laundering controls, foreign exchange procedures, and financial transparency can all influence confidence in the Iraqi banking system. For Iraqi dinar followers, this is where the more meaningful story begins. Instead of focusing exclusively on unverified numbers supposedly appearing inside private systems, investors and viewers should watch measurable indicators. These include official Central Bank of Iraq announcements, government fiscal policy, foreign exchange reserves, banking sector reforms, inflation, money supply, oil revenues, international financial relationships, and the development of Iraq's non-oil economy. The short-term implication of the current claim is therefore limited. If people hear that an unseen banking rate already exists, some may interpret that as evidence that a major revaluation is imminent. But an allegation alone cannot establish a timetable. Without a formal announcement, independently verifiable transaction evidence, or observable market-wide changes, the responsible conclusion is that the claim remains unconfirmed. For the Iraqi dinar specifically, this distinction is especially important because exchange rate expectations can influence behavior. If people believe a dramatic rate change is guaranteed, They may make financial decisions based on assumptions rather than evidence. A professional financial analysis should avoid that approach. Currency markets are influenced by monetary policy, fiscal conditions, international trade, liquidity, investor confidence, and broader economic fundamentals. No responsible analyst can guarantee a particular future exchange rate simply because a number is allegedly visible inside an undisclosed system. There is also a difference between an internal valuation and a retail exchange rate. Suppose a financial institution assigns a currency a particular internal value for accounting or settlement purposes. That does not necessarily mean an individual customer can walk into a branch and exchange physical currency at that same number. Banks use multiple layers of pricing, including wholesale rates, spreads, liquidity costs, transaction costs, compliance requirements, and customer-specific pricing. Therefore, even if an internal figure were genuine, additional evidence would be required before interpreting it as an official public exchange rate. The same principle applies to the Vietnamese dong. Vietnam operates its own monetary and exchange rate framework, and any major change in the value of the dong would need to be assessed through official monetary policy decisions and observable market data rather than community reports alone. The Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong are separate currencies governed by separate institutions and economic conditions. A claim involving both currencies does not by itself demonstrate that they are part of a coordinated revaluation event. Looking at the longer-term picture, however, Iraq's economic development remains worth watching. The country has substantial natural resources, a large oil sector, significant reconstruction requirements, and opportunities to expand non-oil industries. At the same time, Iraq faces challenges involving banking modernization, public sector dependence on oil revenue, fiscal management, infrastructure, private sector development, and integration of its financial system with international standards. If these structural reforms continue successfully, they could strengthen confidence in Iraq's financial institutions over time. That would be economically meaningful regardless of whether a dramatic currency revaluation occurs. A stronger banking system can improve the circulation of domestic currency, increase formal financial activity, support businesses, reduce reliance on cash, and make monetary policy more effective. For viewers following the dinar, the most constructive approach is therefore to monitor developments that can actually be verified. Look for official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, Iraqi government institutions, recognized international financial organizations, and established financial data providers. Watch for changes that appear across multiple independent sources, rather than relying on a single anonymous source or an unverified claim about an internal banking platform. The phrase "already showing up" can sound very definitive, but financially, the key question is not whether someone claims to have seen a number. The key question is whether that number represents an authorized exchange rate, whether banks are actually transacting at that rate, whether customers can access it, and whether the change is recognized by the relevant monetary authorities and international markets. That is the difference between a rumor and a confirmed financial development. So, where does this leave Iraqi dinar followers today? The claim about hidden IQD and VND exchange rates and Tier 4B financial activity should be treated as unverified. It may generate discussion, but it should not be presented as proof that a new Iraqi dinar exchange rate has officially been established. Until credible documentation and independent confirmation emerge, viewers should remain cautious about attaching specific values or dates to the claim. The more important story is the ongoing evolution of Iraq's financial system. Banking reform, international compliance, economic diversification, fiscal discipline, and stronger financial infrastructure are the developments that can create a sustainable foundation for the Iraqi economy. Those factors deserve attention because they are measurable and economically relevant. In the short term, the responsible expectation is continued monitoring rather than assuming an immediate rate event. In the long term, successful reforms could improve the efficiency and credibility of Iraq's financial system, although the eventual impact on the dinar's exchange rate cannot be predicted with certainty. As always, the goal here is to separate confirmed information from speculation and to give viewers the financial context they need to understand what these claims actually mean. If an official exchange rate change occurs, The most reliable confirmation will come through recognized monetary authorities and observable financial market activity, not simply through rumors of a hidden banking screen. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video for responsible, factual, and carefully analyzed Iraqi Dinar updates. We will continue following developments in Iraq's economy, banking sector, monetary policy, and exchange rate environment. Remember, this content is provided for informational and educational purposes only and is not financial advice.